1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Et le Polytechnique, vous êtes complet là maintenant? C'est le quatrième. Vous êtes tous là pour le Polytechnique? Ok, d'accord. Okay, let's go. So within the trying to keep down the time, what I'm going to do is just I will introduce the team members as they get up to speak, so we don't have to go through the entire introductions. I would just like to say that the jury has changed. At least 2 out of the 3 jury members have changed. We will now have a new president of the jury, who is the Vice Dean of the Paris School of International Business, the PSIA, Vanessa Scherer. She will be seconded by another coach from the FDA, the former coach for Sciences Po, the current coach for Paris 11, for the Paris 11, and a wonderful person here at the FDA, Alice Bernard. And to keep a little continuity, Virginie Dutoit as well. There we go. Now getting my notes here. For the motion here, we're continuing the culture wars, France and England. Now we're going to move into another debate here. Yes. This House believes that France should be more German. This House believes that France should be more German. And we have the proposition team from Polytechnique, the opposition team from the Berlin Debating Union that are here with us, all the way from Berlin, I would imagine. And so we're going to start with the very first speaker for the proposition, the Prime Minister, Jean Pouget Abadie.
Everything's so small. Okay. Dear Mr. Chairman, ruling over the Assembly with a certain German authority. Timekeeper, I apologize if I go a bit over time. You know how much we like our quart d'heure français. Members of the jury, dear members of the opposition, I might try to pronounce a few German words. Please don't take offense. Fellow members of the government, who've come all the way from the faraway, misty Parisian suburb Palaiseau, not exactly the trendy capital of Europe. Members of the audience, I'm very sorry the French haven't invented air conditioning yet. Good evening. There's an old accordion player in front of my building. He meets all kinds of Parisians. In the brisk mornings, he plays for a hurried, self-important businessman. In the languorous afternoons, he inspires the love-lorn, brooding teenagers. And at night, he serenades the 2 lovebirds, enjoying the romantic glow of the street's rusty lampadaire. Every day, the very soul of Paris is squeezed out of that tiny tin lung. It's hard to think of something more French than an old accordion player. But the accordion was not invented by Paul, Jacques, or Henri. No, the accordion was invented by Christian Friedrich Ludwig Buschmann. Pardon my German. And yes, in fact, the inventor of the Frenchiest of French instruments was, unbelievably enough, German. So much for the French touch, you might say. But French flair is all about taking things from your neighbor, adding butter, a French name, and serving it in a cafe in cobblestone street of Paris. We, the members of this government, believe that French culture, nay, all cultures, have seen their greatest moments when they mixed, when they clashed, when they interacted. Peter.
Does that not mean that France is already German enough?
No, I believe that France has learned a lot from Germany, just like Germany has learned a lot about France, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Hear, hear, hear.
So not only are we going to go further, and not only will we go further, but we must go further. What we believe is that not only should France be more German, but Europe should be more German. In fact, our planet should be more German. My dear colleague Alain will start us off by showing why France should be more German. Imagine if France was a bit more German. We could all trade in our Renault 206 for a Mercedes without hurting our national pride. Grosse improvement. Maybe our traffic lights would stop being just friendly suggestions. Heck, we might even start winning the Football World Cup again. Wunderbar. More seriously, France has given the world 59 Nobel laureates. Germany has produced twice as many. France...
Too bad.
No, thank you. France has the world's fourth largest deficit. Germany actually has a surplus. But even more serious than Nobel Prizes, even more serious than budget deficits, our food would improve. Think about it. Germans have terrible dressings, but great meat. The French have terrible meat, which is why they invented all the sauces in the first place. Yes, swallow your French pride for a second and take a bite of that German steak doused in sauce Roquefort. Did you know the croissant was actually an Austrian invention, which is why we call it the viennoiserie? By saying that France should be more German, actually, the Austrian Empire at the time was German. By saying that France should be more German, Allah will show you that no, we are not turning our back on France. In fact, we are being more French than French. And for the same reasons that French should be more German, we, the members of this government, believe that Europe should be more German, as my colleague Bart will show you. Now, we're not saying that Europe should have two Germanys. That's already been tried and it didn't work out too well. We're not saying that we want to become Germans. The French had their chance of that in 1870 and in World War I. They had their chance in World War II, and we were on our way to seizing it if it hadn't been for the Americans. No, what we are saying is that Germany has a great many things to teach Europe. Germans are so hardworking, disciplined, ambitious, and so very handsome. Finally, my colleague Adrian will explain why, in fact, the world should be more German. Indeed, cultures around the world have always learned from their neighbor to make something new of it. Take British fish and chips, for example. Potatoes were imported from the Inca Empire by the Spanish. But the Belgians came up with a great idea of deep frying them. The Americans then dubbed them French fries when they got to Belgium in 1918, because, well, the Americans could probably learn a thing or two about geography from the Germans. The only thing the British did was throw battered cod on top, rename fries to chips, and chips to crisps, to get us all confused. Yet fish and chips are as British as can be, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is what culture is all about. Taking things and making them your own. And to finish our three-layered cake comes my colleague Hugo, our very own whipped cream, la crème de la crème. To show you that not only should France be more German, not only should Europe be more German, but in fact the world should be more German. So whenever you pass by that old accordion player, Mr. Chairman, munching away at your viennoiserie, seeing him play out the soundtrack of Paris, pressing out of the rusty old squeeze box every ounce of charm he can muster, think for a minute. Think of everything that has made France great, think of everything that has made France France, and vote for the motion. Thank you.